think we're live. Anna, are we live? Can you confirm, please? I think we are. Hi, this is Robert Ciresi, CEO of Ciresi Morek, and next to me for the first time ever is Mark Morek. Mark is the other half of Ciresi Morek. We are back in the office for the first time, I think, since May 12th? Yeah, May 12th, I think it was.
No, March 12th.
I'm sorry, March 12th. I apologize. We have a new platform today. We're kind of winging it a little bit because usually I was doing this out of my home. Mark was doing this out of his home. Then Anna Maria was helping from her home as well. So for the time being, we're back in the office. We have Mr. T joining us, and we're still going to be fielding questions. We're still going to be taking questions, talking about our new jobs, some placements, some opportunities. But I wanted to, like I said, say hello and introduce Mark. I will tell you going forward, we're going to be doing this now twice a month. We're going to be doing it on the first Wednesday, the third Wednesday of every month going forward. We're back in the office. We're full go. Our team is working, 10, 12 hours a day right now to help find new opportunities, help secure interviews, help people, prep and follow up on opportunities. So we're running full go right now. So Mark, feel free to say hello.
It's nice to be joining everybody now in front of the screen instead of being back behind everybody. So it's definitely a little bit different. So my first time, a little patience would be appreciated.
So as a reminder, we have a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for. I think Mark is going to highlight that on the messenger. On the newsletter, we identify our new searches, new articles, blogs, new trends. Feel free to sign up. Also, too, I don't think we got any questions this week, but if you have questions and you want me to answer them during this time or anytime, send me an email anytime, rceresi@ceresimorek.com. I kind of put it on our LinkedIn or my LinkedIn feed this morning, or maybe it was last night. Like, I am an open book about search. If you want a tip on how to do this or how to make your LinkedIn more attractive, your resume more attractive, how to get past that individual who might be screening your resume from a company you want to work for. I mean, like, finding a job is like having a job full time. I mean, hell, the reason we're in business is solely to find jobs. So for most of you who are not in the search business, what I think is probably most of you who are watching, you have full-time jobs, whether you're running a plant, you're an HR manager, you're an engineer. But like I said, we do this is our craft. This is what we do for a living. So if you have any questions, you can always ping me, send me a note, and I'll do my best to help you. I mean, just recently, I had an individual looking for a new job, and they had never looked for a new job in the past. And first thing I said to that person was, okay, who are your competitors? Great. Who do you think would have value in seeing your resume? Rather than just being reactive and applying for jobs that you might see on LinkedIn or Indeed or Career Builder or Monster, really target companies that you think would want to see your resume. So if your background is manufacturing, designing widgets, well, like I said, I've been in search long enough that the Harris Guide or Reference USA, I think Mark used it as well. Who are the top 10 companies that make widgets? Find out who those companies are. Find out who the leadership is. Don't just blindly send a resume to HR or personnel manager. Send your background to the CEO. Send your background to a vice president and take a shot. I will tell you, when we go to hire, people might send me their resume through LinkedIn. I'd rather have somebody send me a note and say, hey, Robert, or hey, Mark, I saw your resume, really impressed. I'd like to learn more about your business. I want to get into search. I will call that person back within hours because that person impressed me compared to someone who just pushes a button and sends a profile. So just kind of wanted to share that. Another huge announcement, and I want to thank you for those of you who may have helped. Well, a lot of you have helped, but recently we were named one of the top 200 search firms per Forbes magazine. And from my understanding is that 25,000 recruiters and 5,000 job candidates and HR managers were surveyed for this, and there were 17,000 nominations. So we were in the top 200. I think we're at 110, which I don't know how to get to 109, but that's my goal next year. I want to say thank you. We have a bunch of new searches I'd like to discuss this week. Mark's going to join me because some of these are his searches. The way Ciresi Mark works is I'm out there getting searches. Mark's out going getting searches. Kenneth Pettis, Richard Crew, Curtis Judy, Joe Montero, Aaron Zupan, Ben Evans. That's our team. We're out there every day trying to find new roles for folks, and just being on the phone all day and using our network. But this week, a couple of searches that we're going to talk about. And these are relative. If I'm talking about it, that means they're probably on our website. They should be on our website. And we can get an interview for you. And I'll tell you the ones we can. I'll tell you the ones we cannot. But for example, we have a search in Richmond, Michigan for a customer looking for an EH&S manager. It's about $100,000 a year job. We have a search south of Toledo. I think the Lima, Bowling Green area for a quality engineer. That was new. I think one of our automotive customers looking for a QE. In southern Indiana, near Evansville, looking for an EH&S manager. In Kalamazoo, Michigan, I think it's Kalamazoo. Was it about an hour inland from the lake? Looking for a tool room manager. We don't do a lot of tool room managers, but one of our customers contacted us. Mark is doing a search here in northeastern Ohio for a tactical manager, someone who knows injection molding or blow molding. Mark also is looking for a director of distribution for a company here in Cleveland. Mark is looking for a director of operations for a company in Chicago area. That's a neat search. 4 or 5 sites. I think total employees, 1,000, 1,200 people?
Just about.
Okay. Materials manager in Terre Haute, Indiana. Aunt Millie's, and I publicize this because it's a really cool company, but if you're in the Michigan area, you've heard of Aunt Millie's. They are blowing up, and I know they're looking for supervisors. So they're really trying to build bench strength. So if you have anybody just graduated college or JMOs, or maybe you have someone in your family or family or friend who just left the service and they're in a leadership role in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, what have you, Coast Guard. But if you have someone who wants to start with the company, work as a supervisor, and work their way up, Aunt Millie's is offering that opportunity. We have a customer here in Cleveland looking for 2 roles: maintenance manager, materials manager. Still looking for a plant manager in Nashville, Tennessee. Still looking for a plant manager in Detroit. Looking for an assistant controller in the Youngstown area. Tuscaloosa, Birmingham area, looking for an operations manager and quality manager. Trying to identify someone who has a background with Mercedes down there. Let's see. Northeastern Ohio, still looking for a plant manager, ideally looking for someone with aerospace background. Just today, looking for a vice president of purchasing and a vice president of human resources. One of our automotive suppliers is taking advantage of the situation. They have a lot of cash, and they'll change some things out. And they're looking for a vice president of HR and a vice president of purchasing in the Detroit area. Still looking for an accountant in Detroit, maintenance manager in Richmond, Michigan, commodity manager and maintenance manager in Toledo. Let's see. A technical manager in Chicago. One of our customers is putting parts into Ford. They have the Ford Explorer plant there in Chicago. Let's see. HR manager here in Northeastern Ohio. Let's see. Compensation manager in Columbus. What else? I think that's it. Oh, 2 new ones that we haven't even publicized yet that I'm nailing down. Director of Supply Chain in Cary, North Carolina, and a Director of Supply Chain in Dayton, Ohio. So a lot going on, and that's kind of what we're going to twice a month because we have a lot of activity going on right now. So were there any questions that came up?
Yeah, what's the location of the VP of HR?
Hey, Christy.
Thanks for joining us again.
Call my cell, 440-799-2996. After this, I got to go home and cut grass, but I know you know me. Call my cell. I'm free maybe tomorrow in the afternoon or early morning, but find me on my cell, and I promise to return your phone call. So that's cool. Anybody else want to ping me?
No, I think Rondell was asking Nashville plant manager.
Can we elaborate? Yeah, we have a customer. Well, yes, we have a customer, about 250 people. They're more in the industrial industry. They're tied to automotive. They're tied to essentially what our customer's looking for. And educated, when I say educated, a 4-year degree plant manager, someone who's managed a workforce of about 250 people. The ideal candidate is someone who's got a strong background with CapEx because they're doing a large optimization project, and maybe someone, and you hear this term a lot, transformational leader. So, Rondell, if you, I know your name rings a bell. I think your resume is here somewhere. We'll talk about it, but that is in Nashville that we're still doing the search for.
And then Tracy's asking, where's HR manager role in Cleveland?
I can't give. Well, Tracy, once again, ping me. I don't want to. There's some stuff I can't necessarily publicize too much, but if you ping me and schedule time to chat, I can give you some more. But I can tell you it's in the Cleveland area. But I don't want to give out too much because, and this is something I'll bring up, and I was going to bring it up later. Well, I might as well bring it up now. What the hell?
Might as well.
So we were talking about. Hold on, Tracy. You pinged me. That was.
What are you looking for?
I had it here somewhere. One of, I asked my guys, and every day we're on the phone talking about stories, what's happening in the market and so forth. One of the guys, one of our customers, I think it's Arconic or Hamad or what have you. I can't remember which one it is. I always get confused. A former division of Alcoa. There are jobs out there that are not posted. I mean, a lot of our postings, you're not going to find them on Indeed and LinkedIn. We're just always on the phone talking to folks. And I will tell you, good or bad, a lot of these searches are confidential replacements. Now, it's just the nature of the beast. And if Tracy, if you're in HR, you might have had the opportunity in the past to do that, but it becomes very, very messy to do confidential replacements. I mean, hell, for some of our searches, we're doing NDAs and so forth. But there's a lot of moving pieces right now, and I don't have a stat or a survey like we have for the other information we're going to talk about, but a lot of the roles that we have are companies that say, listen, now that the market is kind of flush with talent, can you make us aware of X? And that's happening quite a bit because maybe they're not happy with the individual they have in the place right now, but that's happening more than ever. The confidential replacement, they're just shopping, which sucks, but it's just the way it is. There's a bright, Mark has this bad habit. He'll go to a car dealership and look at cars, even though he doesn't really need a car right now. Sorry, Mark, but
window shopping.
There's a lot of window shopping right now. So one of our customers. So if you call me and we'll schedule time to chat next week, I'm out of the office for the next 2 days. I can fill you in. But now more than ever, a lot of these searches that we have are actually replacements. Saying, hey, we have a person. For example, with this COVID, this is they're taking advantage of the opportunity. It sounds really nasty, but it's happening right now for a lot of our stuff. So a couple things I want to talk about. We're going to bounce around a little bit, and that's just because Mark and I are together. Usually we have more of a flow, but today that we're back in the office and we just have a lot of activity right now was to kind of share with you our experience working remote and talk about what's happening in the future that we've gathered. So a lot of things are changing that we're seeing. So regarding Ciresi Morek, like I said, we left the office on March 12th. We came back on May 29th. What is it, 2.5 months? The way we operated, and this is what people, and even in my office, are always asking me questions. If there was no playbook on how we did anything, it was Mark and I talking every day. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And just from our experience, hell, I was getting ready to buy this building last year and really our offices in, and I'm glad I didn't and Mark and I were talking about getting a new lease for more office space. Not sure what we're going to do because we just don't know what the future holds, which is cool, but also a little bit scary. But we went remote. We had meetings twice a day, 9 a.m., 4:30. We went over our planning reports. We were on calls. We were just what's going on every day, 9 and 4:30. We used Teams, Microsoft Teams. There was no chit chatting on, I'm not a big chit chat person, but what do you got to get done? What are your expectations? What do you need from me? And it worked well. I mean, hell, even for this past month, we're still in business. So we're doing okay. We talked about our new searches, our new activity, our new what's moving. And like I said, we shared that experience. We had Teams on our iPhones. That thing worked very, very well. Got annoying after once in a while because the water cooler conversation would take place, and I don't want to hear water cooler crap. But we had Teams on we had put Teams on our iPhones and our Androids. But we were constantly talking about expectations. I think we had a very clear understanding as far as our leadership, our expectations from our employees, what we can do better every day rather than the woe's me. I am a glass is half full guy, always will be. So we took this and said, okay, we were targeting different industries. I mean, hell, recently, I just said, okay, we got to get in the food industry, take a shot. But that's how we do things. Mark's going to go over some stats that we pulled from. I don't know if you have the ability to type and
Anna
your
has
article.
actually been doing a great job with it.
Okay, thank you, Anna. You want to dive into some of the stats?
Yeah, so we did. We had an Owl Labs report. It was. Alan Murray's going to put it up here in a second, but it's literally the 44 pages, a ton of information. It was like 1,200 full-time employees were interviewed, and what this was talking about is a lot of this remote work stuff that came about because of the COVID and kind of trends over the last couple months. So this was actually the ages 22 to 65, and kind of why they chose to work remote, how remote work impacted their employment opportunities and their work. And what some of the interesting findings here, I just want to pull out some of these. Nearly 2/3 of U.S. workers polled work remote some of the time, and half do weekly. Individual contributors represent both the highest percentage of those who work remotely and the highest percentage of those who do not. So, and mostly managers work remotely almost half as much as non-management piece. So we thought that was pretty interesting. Obviously, senior leadership represents the highest number of full-time remote workers. And I think that's indicative with a lot of like the senior roles that we see, directors of operations, and some of these more senior roles that can work out of a home office and travel to different facilities. Out of the total workforce in 2019, this Owl Labs report found is that most of them were healthcare or technological or internet-based recruiters. Manufacturing was the top 5, but it was down at 7%. And then furthermore, the relative to the total number of folks in those different industries, a lot of it was around IT or customer service support or sales. Engineering and HR were still top 7, but they were down towards the lower end of it. Something else that we thought was interesting, and obvious to some, but maybe not everybody, remote workers can earn salaries more than, are usually earning a salary of $100,000 or more. It's 2.5 times more frequently than some of the on-site workers. So again, it was a lot of information that we thought was relevant to some of this, work from home type mentality. We have, some of the other stats here. 60% of those polled find themselves being interrupted or talked over during hybrid meetings, whether they're in the office or working remotely. And then people chose to work remotely to achieve better work-life balance, to increase their productivity and focus, and to avoid a commute. So there was also some calculators around, savings that we're going to put up as well. Some time savings that you can, if you're looking at working remotely, what you can save over commuting and some of the other costs that are associated with being an employee. So I don't know if there was anything else, Robert, you wanted to add to that, but the other part was the Marissa.
Yeah, and I don't know if those who are watching, if you recall Marissa Mayer from Yahoo, at one time when she first started, she banned remote work. And her statement was, people are more productive when they're alone, but they're more collaborative and innovative when they're together. So then 8 months later, Meg Whitman from Hewlett Packard did the same thing. So this is just bizarre. Literally 7 years later, now everything's flipping around again. So, and also I saw an article recently, Shopify, which I probably, an internet-based website to buy more stuff that you don't need, but that's another conversation. They're offering $1,000 stipend to buy supplies for you if you're working from home, which I thought was pretty cool. Like here's Ciresi Morek. We're not sure what we're gonna do. Some of my guys really, really liked it. We have a couple folks in our office who, what's the best way to put it? I guess their health might,
They have some health concerns about being back in the open environment.
So we said, hey, if you want to work from home for the time being, work from home for the time being, and we're not sure what's going to happen next, but I want those individuals to make sure they're healthy and safe. And hell, we can always, it's not that hard to do our job via phone and with the internet and so forth. So,
and actually, to jump in here real quick. So Nate had a question about, are we seeing more companies open to remote? And I think the answer is yes. For us personally, pre-COVID-19, if somebody said, hey, we want to work for Ciresi Morek, but I can't come to the office every day, Robert and I were on the same page from the standpoint of, I think the answer would be kind of a hard no. Not saying that we're completely open to it now, but we've seen how we can be successful. We've seen other companies that have opened things up and are more open to that, considering a remote or telecommuting, worker. And so for us, it's, we've seen it trending, and we've also, are open to considering some of that. So I hope that answers your question, Nate.
Hey, Nate, and anybody else, guys, feel free to plug. This is a lot easier if it's interactive. If you have questions, fire them away, even if they're dumb questions. Sorry, they're dumb questions, but watch, I'm going to get someone from my office and make a question. But it's a lot easier if you just ping us and we can answer as many as we possibly can. But going back to Nate's question, I will tell you, so just today, like, this is some of the struggles we're dealing with right now. So I got to get somebody to interview. They're not allowed into a site. We got to do an off-site meeting, and they got to find an off-site meeting where they can actually sit down and chat. Someone went on an interview last week. They were wearing a mask. So is that company going to furnish the mask? Are you going to bring the mask? And then, hell, it's a mask, so can you even hear somebody? So if you're out there interviewing, I would make sure that, like, for example, we had one of our customers, this blows my mind. I asked for an agenda and who they're meeting with tomorrow, and this really drove me crazy. The HR person just simply wrote, just have masks for me. Well, that's bullshit. I asked for a lot more information than that. You got a person interviewing during COVID. Should they bring a mask? Yes or no? What's the protocol from showing into the facility? Do they take a temperature? Yes or no? If they're wearing a mask during the interview process, can they bring a bottle of water? How do you want that person dressed? Just stuff like that, common sense stuff. So if you're out there interviewing right now and you're working with a recruiter or working with somebody, and just what is the etiquette for the interview itself? What is the etiquette when I show up or starting a job? Just so you show up there, if you don't have a mask, you don't feel like an idiot. Or if you got to take a temperature, it's not clear. So it's their job to make you feel comfortable when you show up there. So just that really bothered me. But Nate, like I said, not to jump over too many things, but I just saw it the other day, and like I said, make sure you get those questions answered before you show up to a site. I think.
Are we ready for resumes?
Yeah, unless, guys, and I apologize. Last week I went like 47 minutes, maybe an hour, and I was spent. But I guess we're going to talk about a few resumes here and there. And forgot about one thing. There's a new website called Candor. Anna, can you put that up? We learned about this recently. I think it's a job database. Is it candor.co? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it's a database that's populated by people out there looking for new roles, or it's obviously populated by anyone, right? But it will show you who's hiring, who's laying off, for what they're hiring for, locations. But it seems like a pretty good site that is, like I said, being populated by the public. There's public listings, so I think they're probably like kind of crawling the internet for some things. But
it's interactive too, so it's folks who are have information out there they're posting it.
We have nothing to do with this site. It's candor.co. And one of the things, get paid more, salary negotiations for top tech professionals. I don't know how much it applies, but it might be a good tool for you looking for a job, just like Indeed is. You're signing up for alerts, LinkedIn, and so forth. But like I said, it's a good tool, and we're out there always looking for good tools. But one of the things I noticed was hiring in all areas, looking for back-end engineers, critical roles only. And this is the thing, and not to get off the subject, but the critical thing, I don't know what critical is anymore. I posted an article about Michael Rowe, who I'm a big fan of, from Dirty Jobs, saying that, only essential jobs. And I think we kind of fell into that pattern as well. Every job is essential. That's why you work. So if you're trying to work to create money to pay for your kids or pay for your mortgage, pay for your rent, it's all essential. So, but it's a good tool. Like I said, we printed it off. Here's something we're using. It lists, a bunch of different jobs, but if you get a chance, check it out. I think it'd be a good tool. Do we have any questions so far, Mark?
No, I think we've been hitting them pretty good.
Okay. Like I say, guys, feel free to ask us anything. We're going to go to about 5:30 today. But if you have any questions, ping me. Let's see. We have the list of the folks. Are we allowed to say names?
That one, yes. Troy, yes. Raymond is first name.
Where's Carl? Okay. So Troy, if you're watching, we're talking on Monday. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna catch up to you on Monday. So to give you a good example, Troy pinged me. Troy's looking for a new opportunity. He wanted to talk to me Monday. We're talking at 2:00. So if you want to schedule some time with me to, one-on-one, I will do my best. I try to get back to everyone, but I always take 10, 15 minutes to talk to someone about something. So, but Troy, we're going to talk on Monday at 2. Looking at Ray, we cannot say Ray's last name. So Ray, if you're watching, quick glance of your resume, Ray. So I shoot from the hip. That's probably and I get that feedback. So Ray, it takes a page and a half to figure out what the hell you do. Summary of qualifications, skills. I don't know why a bullet point of effective verbal, written, interpersonal communication skills is on there. Listen, that's all generic stuff. But you've worked for some company. You worked for some pretty brand name organizations, and as I tell everybody all the time. Unless you work for some powerhouse companies, but you're just assuming somebody knows what these companies do. And I think I know some of these are Fortune 1000, Fortune 100, Fortune 100, but you choose to wait and not tell the reader who the hell you're working for. You wait for a page and a half. So I might shrink that down. Tell you work for, let's just say the last company you worked for, brand name, let's just say it's TRW. So TRW, $200 billion, not $200 billion, but $50 billion automotive, aerospace, blah, 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 with X amount of employees, blah, blah, blah. Title, simple, what your title was, let's say maintenance manager. And then you seem to put your responsibilities, not your accomplishments. It's a big no-no. I know you kind of drummed that in with your cover letter, but you were responsible for what? And based on those responsibilities, you accomplished what? KPIs, metrics, saving money, driving revenue, increase efficiency, stuff like that, rather than, hey, I manage a bunch of guys in 24/7, 365 operation. Great. In doing so, what did you accomplish? So that would be my first thing. I think we have jobs for you. I don't know if you're work with anybody in our office, but I know we have a bunch of maintenance type roles that we're working on. So ping me or go to our website. I know Curtis in my office is looking for somebody. Ben in my office is looking for someone. But that would be the first thing. Like I said, it takes too long to get to the meat of your resume. Mark, did you see anything on this one?
No, I think you hit everything pretty well. There's a lot up front. I mean, it's 3 pages, which isn't really a make or break, but I think you could boil it down a lot. And it's a common thing we see, Raymond, with not explaining what the companies do or what they are. So it's completely understandable. And if you have any other specific questions, Raymond, feel free to shoot an email to Robert or myself, and we can kind of follow up with that.
Did we learn anything last week about the union question?
Actually, one gentleman sent us Ford's playbook, what they're doing with some of the union interaction.
Okay. Did we digest it?
Not completely. No.
Okay.
It's pretty indicative. It's pretty thick.
Speaking of hiring right now, I know that, and I apologize, I got a screen here, I got Mark, and I got a screen here, I got a phone here. So, and as you can tell, I'm ADD to begin with. I know that our automotive customers are picking up. Our largest automotive customers are your Magnas and your Danas, and I know they're picking up. They're being very careful. Everybody's holding their fingers, making sure there's not a COVID case. I'm told that there's, and not particularly for these companies, but I'm told that things are not very pretty in Mexico right now. Some of my other customers, not to name names, but they've had some deaths in Mexico. A couple of my customers in Alabama, because I think they were late to the game and stopping things and early in the game to open things up. I think COVID is still more present there than maybe here. But so pray for those who are in Mexico. So we talked about Troy. Troy will catch up on Monday. Are we talking about Carlos or Rondell?
Nope, not Carlos, but Rondell. Yes.
Okay. So Rondell, I've seen your resume. I think Mark knows you. Have you ever spent time with Rondell?
Yeah, Rondell and I have chatted.
Okay.
We're going to chat again here
Rondell.
later today.
So, Rondell, listen, I don't want to beat you up too bad on your resume. Schedule a time with Mark, but I mean, Mark and I come kind of the same playbook. We're looking at your resume, and it's just this is what you could use. And here's the thing: you are a former officer in the United States Service. Is that right? Same with Mark. So he has an affection for guys like you. He has a network for guys like you. Probably the best thing for Mark to do is to blow up your resume. You guys like to blow stuff up. Get a new one. We can send you a couple ones to use as a benchmark because, once again, I'm looking at your resume. I have no idea what the hell some of these companies do. I know what Composite Technologies does. I know what some of these companies do. But, once again, you're not telling the reader what you do, for whom you do it with. And like I said, Mark, it's probably best if you see – you're probably just – you keep on adding to this resume. But it'd be helpful if Mark sent you some examples for good directors, plant manager resumes. You say, okay, this is what good looks like. Copy and paste. Well, not copy and paste, but use the format, use some of the wording, use some of the functions, and make it easier for there. So,
and something too, just to jump in, and this is probably a good lesson learned for everybody. You know, you start off with a resume that's basic when you're entry level, and then you get to like a manager level, a little bit more experience, but then you transition to more senior level. And I think it takes a different structure and a different presence. And that's, Rondell, I think what the next transition is for us. And so I'll give you a call later here today. We can get on a call and kind of dive into it a little bit more. Okay?
Because the one thing I'll tell you, so Rondell, if I'm looking at your background, I presume you're probably making $150,000 to $200,000 a year, right? In that ballpark, that's if I'm awful with you, I'm sorry. But so in this, and don't take this the wrong way. But I had a guy take it the wrong way one time, but his formatting was a little off, his grammar was off, punctuation was off. And I said, listen, you're interviewing for a $200,000 job. This is your first. Well, not. This is your first day. This is what's going to get you in the door. And you got to have a resume that's going to say, okay, I'm going to entrust you with a $100 million site. I want to make sure your grammar is there, your spelling is there, your formatting is there. This is how you present yourself. So we have some resumes we could use as templates to say, okay, this is a good resume, and but Mark will share them with you in the future. So,
yeah, and the other thing is too, ATSs. We've talked about that a couple times, making sure that they're kind of ATS friendly, and you don't get too fancy with formatting or structure, because that's going to cause an issue for you potentially down the road.
Oh, and also too, if you're using a Mac versus a Dell or something like that, that can make a I got a resume the other day from a MacBook. The minute I opened it, I couldn't open the formatting on my computer. So that just, you maybe don't notice it, but we notice it all the time. So once again, we're gonna be doing this first Wednesday and third Wednesday of every month. Anna will post it on our website, and we'll post it on our LinkedIn. And apologies for cutting it short today. If I don't cut grass today, guys, I will have let's just say a foot of grass in the rain.
Are there any questions from anybody? Is there any last minute questions we want to jump on before we sign off? And so, you know, I've got the window running here so I can see kind of the questions coming through. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Anything else? Anna Maria? All right.
And if anybody want, we have Mr. T this week. So if there's any requests for in 2 weeks, let us know. We have a whole lineup. All right, guys. Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.